All right, Colts fans, we are back with another film session interview. Here we are with Colts edge rusher Kemoko Turay, coming off of, obviously it was a shortened season, but in those first couple games, it was definitely kind of a breakout for you early last year. I mean, I know Pro Football Focus had you as one of the best players on the Colts roster in those first 5 games. You had a great first game, especially against the Chargers there. So did you kind of feel like, your breakout season was kind of robbed from you when you had that injury against the Chiefs?
Yeah, I mean, this year I had clear mind. I was way more confident this year. So, yeah, so I had to set in mind that I was going to be that guy in 2019.
Yeah, and it definitely looked like it early on. I mean, you looked a lot stronger at the point of attack. You looked a lot quicker on your rushes, a lot more decisive. What was kind of the key to you to kind of having those big games early in the season? Why were you able to be just so much better all around, I guess, compared to your rookie season?
First and foremost, it started with just staying in Indianapolis and training with Robert Mathis. Coming out of college, I had different tools, that, everybody's saying raw talent. He has different tools. He could use his hand, whatever. But I didn't know how to set up my move. That's where Rob came in and taught me how to be consistent and not telegraph my move. So, and just staying with him during the off season, I was able to control and knowing the move that and understanding what move to use on the offensive lineman and perfecting it and then making that something, making it consistently, making that consistent move and not telegraphing it, but and making my move not look like making my move not look the same. So,
Yeah.
and my rookie year, everything was was obvious, and I was using so many different moves, and then if you would tell me, my 2018 year, what was certain move that I used to love using the most, I couldn't tell you because I was used so I was so athletic in terms of doing everything, but I didn't know that it has a consequence in doing it because in the league you're playing a good offensive lineman that's been in the league for so long that they're really smart. So just being with Robert Mathis, he taught me how to be smart with my move and just using the same one move and just using two move into beating an opponent.
Yeah, yeah. They always say, if you have 2 moves that are elite, you're going to be, you could be a Hall of Famer, if you have 2 elite moves as a pass rusher. And Robert Mathis obviously was one of those type of guys, and I'm sure he's really helped your development there. And kind of talking about your training with him, I talked to Ben Banagu on here the other day,
Yeah.
and he said you guys have a nickname that you're trying to work on this year, 57, 52, what it do? Was it Robert that came up with that nickname?
Wait, the nickname 57? Wait, say it again, because you talking about my nickname was
Yeah.
because
So,
they call
well,
me
Ben,
the Kemoko Dragon, so I
yeah,
thought that was my nickname. I never, yeah, I
no,
got
no.
that from.
Ben Banagu told me that you guys are working on a nickname called 5752. What it do?
Oh wow! I mean, me and him have been talking about coming up with something like that, but he never told me that idea.
Oh,
That's
really? Okay.
pretty new. That's pretty new to me. But we thought about me and him, coming into being a young guy and just learning from Robert Mathis and you know, being that new generation of Robert Mathis and Freeney. And we talked about it a lot, but we ain't got the chance to talk about the nickname and whatever. But I like that idea though. It's pretty
Yeah, I
cool.
mean, maybe he just came up with his on his own. He was telling me about that the other day, but I thought that was a good one for y'all. And yeah, it's definitely a good one to go with. And you guys definitely have the athleticism and the traits to be those next guys. One more thing I want to ask you though before we jump into some of the film clips here is
Okay.
you had 2 veteran guys on that defensive line with you who were one guy who might be a Hall of Famer one day in Justin Houston, and another guy who was also been around the league for a long time and really good in Jabal Sheard. How did
Yeah.
those guys really help you with kind of not only like your on the field play and stuff like that, but also kind of how to approach the game in the locker room and in the practice field?
Mainly, I looked at Justin Houston on how he conduct himself as a pro. I
Mhm.
didn't look at him as a playing aspect, but I watched him how he carried himself in practice, what he do every day and everyday basis, coming into the locker room, the way how he practiced and whatever. And that's the take that I took from him in terms of like, and his advice. Like Justin Houston would like see me doing certain things and certain moves, he would kind of pull me to the side, like you should have done this, whatever. But I learned mainly all my stuff that I would learn from Robert Mathis, because me and him was like the same type of player. Me and
Mhm.
Justin Houston is not the same exact player, but like I watched Justin Houston, I would say Ben Banigou will learn more from Justin Houston than I will, because me and him, we have different playing style. Me and Justin Houston, so him and Ben Banigou play just alike. And if you watch film, and then you'll see Ben Banigou, him and Justin Houston have the same body type as well.
Yeah.
So and me with Rob is shorter, but he's like, his athleticism is just like mine. And he always talked to me about Chandler Jones, how he trying to get me to play like Chandler Jones, because me and him got the same. Me and Chandler Jones had the same body type, same length, and how we playing style a little bit. So Justin Houston, him being like a veteran, I take the notes, the little stuff that I take from him is, his practice and how like his wisdom, and just being around him, and how he think around the game, because his IQ is tremendous.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be in the league for this long and do what he's done in the league, I mean, you definitely need to have such a level of IQ and know how to be a pro and stuff. So it's great to have those guys in the locker room with you here. And jumping to the clips here. I mean, I want to say, first off, everyone kind of knew like, oh crap, Turay looks different from this first game. This first game against the Chargers, I mean, you look like a different animal out there. And this was just one of the clips here. This is the first clip that I have here, but you're coming off the edge and you're able to beat the tackle with the speed move and force the fumble. Obviously, I don't think this play stood, because I think there was a penalty on the play. But this play right here was when, oh crap, here he is. So I want to ask you, what was kind of your plan of attack here off the snap, and how were you kind of attacking this left tackle here?
Okay, just go. All right, so things that I did over 2018 at the end of the season, I literally took the time and sat down and trained with Robert Mathis, and also I sat down and constantly evaluate myself as a player in 2018. So what I realized, what I did was I constantly used to like use different moves, but the things that I realized that I win my pass rushing with, it was attacking offensive lineman. And usually most people, like, they don't like guys like me, and guys like players like me, they're because of their body type and their weight. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel confident enough with my body weight. So what I did was I evaluate myself. 2018, most of the sacks that I had was creating contact with the offensive lineman in order to gain leverage and bypass and running my feet and getting the sack. So I realized that, and that's what gave me a lot of confidence. Like, okay, I have to attack the offensive lineman more and use my length. So what I did was I used to practice with Rob Mathis a lot, long arm and chop. So that long arm chop in the wrist. So when you're attacking the offensive lineman, they're taking 3 steps back, and once they take that 3-step strike, and as you're looking at him, he's taking that 3-step and trying to strike me. So by me getting like last year, I used to lose most of my reps because I used to try to finesse move like stutter step and try to avoid their hand, and mind you, my weight, and when I stay up high, I lose leverage. So when I do, I gain ground and create space. When I create space with my long arm while he's pushing me, I'm already having my pivot foot down hard, so it's that it look like I have a little more weight to me, so I can use and then set him up while he's using that long arm try to push me, because he feel like just because I'm light that I'll just get off. So he's using so much force, and I'm gaining ground, and I'm just using that offhand outside and just chopping his wrist. Yeah. I'm not attacking his full arm, because the full arm are really like when people get mistaken. When you're attacking the full arm, it's hard to bring a person down. The wrist is the weakest part of anybody, any human being body. So if you chop it, if you're chopping the by the elbow, it's going to be hard to bring that down. So what I did was I created leverage, long arm, and waited for his hand to come up and just chop his wrist, and then and got by
Yeah,
by
yeah.
running my feet.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what happened there. I love that. And I like that you mentioned the pivot right there on the edge there. That helps you turn that corner and also develop more power. And something that you mentioned, though, was being stronger at that point of attack. Something that you really wanted to look at. Maybe not even necessarily being stronger, but just attacking more.
Attack more, yeah.
Yeah, attacking more. But was there a lot of training that went into, putting on, weight, muscle, like strength for that kind of stuff? Or was it mostly just, working your hand and being quicker?
It's working my hand, but also I was working on my core a lot. I was working more on my core because of my 2018. I had weak core, and I even realized I used to get pushed off the ball a lot when offensive linemen would attack me just like that with full force. But during the off season, I used to work with my strength coach, Rusty, and we used to work on core and just work on just lower body a lot constantly, and that's what helped me gain ground. My weight was still the same. It hasn't changed. It's just getting the core strong and just attacking more.
Yeah, definitely. And
Which
then
has changed everything. Attacking the offensive lineman because most offensive lineman doesn't expect guys like my size to attack more. They usually expect for us to crossover chop. And when you crossover chop, as guys like me, like we're guys like me are very tall. If I would have crossover chop, I would have stayed up more and lose leverage and not gain ground. But in this film, I keep running my feet. You see, I've never stopped running my feet at all. So I keep running my feet and try to get past them. Most defensive linemen, when they use a move, they stop their feet and try to fight with the offensive lineman. I don't have time for that because it takes 2.5 or 2.6 seconds for a quarterback to throw the ball. So I had to figure out. I had to align my angle because the angle towards the quarterback and have my feet, and then attack the chest of the O lineman before he attacked me, and set him up and keep running my feet and keep his hand is in my way and just chop it off.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really thorough breakdown. I love it. And yeah, I mean, you said it all there. That's exactly what happened there, and you were able to turn that corner there and get that sack. Obviously it doesn't count for the record book, but definitely counts when it comes to watching the film and stuff. And the other thing I want to ask you about this play is here. I know they have you in that wide 9 stance on this play, and they were able to kind of get you in that stance a couple times last year where you're able to get some success. Is this the type of position or the stance that you really like to kind of attack linemen from, that kind of downhill wide 9 spot?
Yes, because it gives me a better view of looking at the outside leg of the O lineman because I could get off for it. Because most people, you're looking at the ball, you're looking at the snap count, but your O lineman, when the O lineman move, I was always taught by Robert Mathis, when the O lineman twitches, you got to go. Because I'm looking at that move. As soon as he twitch, I'm out. And that's what because speed kills. If you could get that second off the ball and instead of being late off the ball, and then you have a better advantage against the O tackle.
Definitely. Now let's get to the second clip here. Same game against the Chargers here, in that outside stance there, and you're able to work that outside. He gets his hands on you, and then you're able to come back with a really nice swat there and get around the edge there. Was this another move, again, this kind of 2-hand swipe that you were working here? Was this another move that you were working on a lot in the off season?
Yeah, from the first clip is kind of similar, but what I did was I didn't create the long arm. I was too close to him, but as you can see, I still had my inside arm in between his chest.
Mm-hmm.
So, and right there, it looks like he beat me. So most people would lose that right there. But what I did was, knowing that I still kept the same mentality when Robert Mathis said, make all your moves look the same. So you think I didn't have it in I didn't stop running my feet. Keep running my feet. Well, now I set them up. So my initial move was to set them up. So how I set them up was I was trying to go out the same way I did the first one, where it was a penalty call. It was the same exact move. But the difference was now he had a better advantage because he had me. But what I did was, but I still had my outside hand out in case I get trapped. I could use that and chop his wrist again. and turn that corner, because mostly I'm good at turning the corner because that angle that I have. So once you have your outside arm and you chopping it, automatically your body's gonna turn as soon as you chop your opposite arm away, and then get his hands away from your chest, because I protected my chest because I had one of my inside arms, because he's trying to reach from my outside shoulder and try to keep me intact, but he didn't, because my outside arm was free, and then I just chopped his wrist off and just turned that corner.
Yeah. And it sounds like a lot of the moves that you're setting up here start with you getting that long arm, or even not even long arm, just getting your arm inside that tackle's chest plate.
Absolutely.
It's definitely something that's big for every single pass rusher, but for someone like you who wins with their speed, their quickness, always moving their feet, how big is that to your type of game, to getting around the corner?
It's very important. First, Robert Mathis, Coach Fair at the time always tells me, speed first. You got to sell speed before you make your initial move. If you don't sell speed, then your initial move will never come. So we're having my thing is everybody's different. Justin Houston, I watch his game all the time as well as I've watched myself. Justin Houston, his thing is me and him have different speed, but Justin Houston is more power than speed. So
Yeah.
how he set him up, Justin Houston set his players up with bull rush. So he bull rushed them, and then you see Justin Houston, most of his sacks, I watch his sacks, most of his sacks come from the inside. So he bull rushed and then goes inside, because he set up a level rush and he goes inside and set up his guys. And mine is like, I'm outside. Mine is just selling speed. If I want to go inside one time, I can easily do a spin move with the long arm spin. If you watch the Bills game where I had the strip sack on 2018 when I long arm spin, and I got that, it's the same thing. So I just had to sell up the long arm, and if I want to try a different move, I could use that same exact initial move, and then just spin off from him, because you have to in order to win your reps, you have to make the O-lineman scared of your speed before you can win any rep.
Yeah.
And he was scared of my reps, so his technique was off. O-lineman is taught to keep the ground and pedal their feet and stay grounded. But him, he was so scared of my speed that he lost his technique, and that's what I win at.
Yeah, certainly. And something that you kind of mentioned earlier in this is, you were selling this move to be like that first move that you were doing, in that first clip. You were kind of selling it so you make every move look the same, with your speed, like you mentioned there. Make every single move look the same. But when do you decide kind of what move you're going to set up? When do you decide, hey, I'm going to go with the long arm swipe here. Hey, I'm going to spin inside. Is there a decision before the snap? Is it before the game? When do you kind of decide those moves?
My first initial move is I'm trying to beat him to the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to beat him before the ball move. Right? But first things come, you got to get off the ball quick. And then once you have the thing is, you already have to have your first move down pat. If my first move don't work, right? Let's say if I long arm, he beat me just like that. Mm-hmm. And so I could just use that same move, long arm, and then grab his other arm and just bull rush him to the quarterback. Right?
Yeah.
So it's still the same move. Nothing changed. So my whole thing is, all right, beat him to the edge. If I don't beat him to the edge, just use that same long arm and then try to chop. If it doesn't chop, I'm just bull rushing him. Long arm, just long arm bull. And if not, let's say he's doing that same thing, and I did that, my initial move was like, all right, do that, and I could just use long arm spin. Just long arm spin.
So you basically just have your same. I kind of what we said earlier.
It's all similar. It's not. Yeah. It's different, but it's all similar. It's all long arm. It's long arm chop, long arm spin, long arm lift, long arm bull. It's all the same thing. Nothing changed.
Yeah, that way you can be efficient from, you look exactly the same on every single rep. But
absolutely, and it makes it harder for the O-linemen when they study and watching film of you before the games, before they play you on the weekend, during the Sunday night game. They're having trouble figuring out, okay, what is his weakness? Because every O-lineman is trying to find your weakness, and then once the game started, it's like, I know what move he's going to use, and it's harder. Don't. I'm not trying to telegraph my move. I'm trying to make it hard for him. I'm trying to make his job harder for him to study me.
Yeah, certainly. And I'm sure that, linemen always do the same thing as well, because I've talked to so many linemen. So much of this game is trying to figure out the little things in your opponent. So the less that you show, the more effective you're going to be. Which is, definitely what you and Robert have definitely been working on there. On this play here, you're able to, I think you're going against Jake Matthews here from the Falcons.
Yeah.
You nearly get the sack on this one here. I believe it's a stunt play. You're stunting with Marcus Hunt, and you nearly get that inside and get the sack here, but you get a good pressure and get the forced incompletion. Was this a design stunt here, or were you just fighting inside?
It's a design stunt.
Gotcha.
It's a design stunt, and then he's supposed to wrap around me. Then Marcus become a new contained player.
Perfect. And you guys did a lot of that last year, and also as your rookie season. Was that something they really wanted to incorporate with you when they first drafted you, and they want to get you on a lot of those stunts because your quickness and athleticism?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Because if you watch, I mean, all of us do the same thing. Because even we use that. Even Muhammad do the same thing. It's just the regular base what we usually do. But that's something that we do for us to because for the quick guys for them to move, and then for our linebackers and whatever to be be out there and just make that play.
Yeah,
even
absolutely.
Just to confuse the old tackle.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what the name of the game is right there. But here obviously you're trying to work to this gap here, and also kind of take this guy off of Hunt, so it causes that confusion there. When you're working this gap though, obviously again we talked. You're not you had struggles early in your career with that point of attack and the strength and stuff like that. So what's kind of your goal though when you're fighting here? Because you're going to have more traffic, you're going to have more guys with hands on you. What are you trying to do when you're getting into this gap outside, in compared to going around the outside and being on this outside gap?
Okay, 2018, when I used to stunt like that, my thing was I used to stunt like that, but I did it with not enough awareness, because now I know, now being in my second year and watching film, I know that once I do that, the old tackle is gonna fall for it and try to keep me from, because that's a quicker way to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
So the old tackle is gonna do whatever it takes for him to keep me from getting to the quarterback. So my 2018 year, I used to just do the same thing, but I didn't gain ground against the old tackle. Before, I used to just go in there freely and not thinking that O-lineman could just long arm and just push me, because I'm once I realize my weight, I don't have that much weight. I try to put enough weight towards the old tackle so it could be harder, make his job harder for him to push me away from the quarterback. So I'm leaning on him while he's trying to push me off. So which makes it harder. So which him just put more weight on him than me just going into the B gap freely and he's just pushing me on air.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
I did. So knowing that the nose. So I know that guard is gonna worry more about the nose, Marcus, and now I have 1-on-1. So it's not 2-on-2, 1-on-1, because I know the guard is gonna worry about Marcus. So what I'm doing is I could have either, what I just did right there, or either push against, go running straight into the guard's hip and help Marcus out, and Marcus go run straight around.
Yeah. No, it's all about
And
creating
one of
that
us with a guy in it. But knowing that I was so quick off the ball that I knew that I had it, but they didn't call a holding call. His whole arm was around my neck or whatever. They should have called that.
Yeah.
But I'm not even gonna mention that. I mean, it's in the past. But yeah.
Oh man, if we want to talk holding call, I could show that Chargers clip, that first game where they threw that first touchdown and the running back tackle.
Oh, the running back, yeah, he held me. That's also oh Lord.
I've been talking about that one since the game even happened. I mean, that was brutal. But yeah, I love, again, the get off is the big thing you're talking here. And you said that through each one of these clips here. And even if I even slow it down, I mean, you're out of your stance. I mean, you're already going before this guy even moves. So yeah, that get off is so big in your game, and that helps you with so much here. And get off obviously is about timing, something that you've been talking about here. But was there anything, lower leg work or anything like that you're working on and being more explosive out of your stance?
Oh yeah, I used to have like so that same stunt when we do that stunt, that's our regular stuff that we do. I mean, you watch the game, and a lot of us do a lot. So I used to practice a lot. I used to just work about just doing the same exact thing, and just with a comb. I will set the combs up as if the combs is the O lineman, and just sit and do the same stance, 3-point stance, and do the same stunt over and over and over. So
Mhm.
that way it becomes second nature. So I don't want, because if you like do the same exact thing. So if you watch my, like, mind you, I didn't telegraph it because usually Olama could tell when you're going inside. When you lean forward, when you lean inside a little bit, the
Yeah.
Olama. So usually my 2018 year, Olama would tap each other. Oh, he's coming inside. He's coming inside. So what I practiced is like cone drills all the time, just doing the same thing, just staying square as if I'm pass rushing. So that forces the O lineman to come at me, and then just making my job easy and go inside.
Awesome.
And then if you watch my 2018 year when we was playing the Bengals, I did the same thing, but I had to tackle for loss, but I got called for a horse collar. So
Yeah.
that's the same exact thing. So the O lineman, if you watch that film, and the O lineman came straight at me because I came, like, he thought I was gonna pass rush or either try to set the edge or try to bowl him. And then I just went straight inside. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make it hard for the O linemen to figure what you're trying to do. And just like they're trying to make it hard for us to figure out they're either pulling or they're having a tight end coming towards us, or the back is even. Like, you gotta watch the little things, just being more aware.
Okay. Yeah, and that actually kind of leads really well to this here because this is actually a run defense play here. And you're obviously lined up over the outside shoulder here at the tackle, but they bring the tight end backside while the tackle blocks down, and you're able to avoid that block and make the tackle for a loss here. But on this play, for instance, what kind of can give it away that this is going to be a run inside and that the tight end might be coming your way rather than this guy?
Okay, this was so to back so easily. So when the back is towards me, I see the back is towards me. But now either way, so a back could be towards you, but it doesn't mean the back is it's going to be it's going to be a runaway, a zone away. So what I looked at is either I look at the back and see if the back is deep enough. If the back is deep, okay, so I'm anticipating, okay, so it's going to be the tackle's going to block down. So now that's gonna make my job easier. So now I don't have to false step or whatever and try to making my job easier is just studying the running back. So back is deep. So I already know the tackle's not gonna worry about me. He's worrying about the attack. The offensive tackle is not worrying about. He's worrying about the tackle, D tackle. So now I look at that first, and I looked at the off away to see if any tight end is off. So if the tight end is off, I know that the back is going there. So I know the tight end is gonna come towards me and try to block me. So my initial job is to either I'm supposed to box it, but now I know that he's coming towards me. He's trying to low cut me. I'm just already anticipate that he's gonna cut me and whatever. That shows in film when we watching game before getting ready for the game and stuff. So usually do the same exact thing. So I've seen it already 100 times. So it makes my job easier. So I know the back is so no false stepping, just going straight at it, playing fast,
Yeah.
play my
100%.
fastball.
Yeah, and as a player who is brought in to be a pass rusher, I mean, you're not specifically brought in to be only a pass rusher, but that's kind of your bread and butter, being that pass rusher, getting sacks, disrupting the passing game. It's so much that goes into reading a run versus pass, so you don't have those false steps here. Was that something that you think, again, that you improved on from 2018 to 2019 is reading the tells from the running back to the tackle to the little sniffer tight end that's off the line here? Did that kind of improve there for you?
I mean, that's something the basic that I learned when I was an outside linebacker at Rutgers. So it's
Yeah.
like I was outside linebacker, so that's something I've already seen. But um, I'm as you said, I was brought in to be a pass rusher at first, whatever. But that's something. I mean, if once you play football for a little bit of time, I mean, as an outside linebacker, you're seen to see if a back away, back is to you. Because usually when I used to cover, if a back to me, if a back is like squared up and close to the tackle, that means he's easily going to a flat. So I have to cover the running back. So that's the same exact thing. It's just reading. It's just being more aware.
Yeah, for sure. And then last play here, and I'm not going to show this whole clip because unfortunately it was the clip where your season was ended, and I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to watch that where that injury came in or anything like that. But the first part of this clip I think was just an excellent play by you. Actually, I think I put it in slow motion here because it shows that the spin move that you've been working on. Long arm, spin inside, and you're able to actually deplete the guy and knock him over here before pursuing for the half sack here. So again, talking about, that long arm, talking about working, spins and counters inside and stuff like that. How often would you say you would go to a move like the spin move and kind of work back inside?
So all right. So usually, when I usually do long or chop, I know that he blocked my my uh my angle. So he blocked the angle when I usually could. Like, he was so squared up, he was wide, so I knew I couldn't chop his arm off. So naturally, once I long arm, and I've been practicing it so many times. So if I long arm, and if I couldn't chop, and then knowing that the angle was cut off, I could easily, because I got him so far away from his initial steps, so I could easily spin move and go inside, because then he doesn't have any help. He has the guards are worried about Danico Autry, and then I knew that was clear from there, and I set him up from it. Just setting him up constantly. I was trying to go outside. So if you watch the whole game, most people, if anybody watch the game, so constantly during the game, I just kept bull rushing. I was setting him up. So I kept bull rushing him and going outside of him. Bull rush, long arm, bull rush, chop. So he's seeing the same thing over and over. So now finally, when I know I'm trying to set him up. So I finally set him up now. So now he's now he's worrying about just cutting my angle off. So it was easy for me to long arm and just spin off from him. It's like chess. You have to set up your opponent, and that's what I did right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you mentioned earlier, and it's kind of here, I think he gives you a little bit of an aggressive set here, but it's typically, he's still getting his depth. But a lot of, what offensive line plays, they like to get that depth. They like to get back at, those vertical sets and stuff. And that is how you push that outside and get around the corner. But, in practice, when you go against the Colts offensive lineman Costanzo and Braden Smith, they're more of those kind of aggressive sets, like to jump guys, like to get on you. How does that kind of change your process or how you attack guys when they're jumping you or they're getting on you with those aggressive sets?
You just got to study your opponent and know, because every O-lineman has a habit, and once you know that habit, the games become easier for you. Mm-hmm. And once you find constantly watching film, like, okay, he does this a lot. This is what he does. And if you critique the little mistakes and little technical things that they do, and then that's when you like, okay, I could get this guy right there. And a game, you could be like, all right, I'm attacking this guy, and whatever, people like, oh, he's not, this certain defensive end is not getting the sack, whatever. That's because defensive ends are trying to set up their move,
mm-hmm.
And that's why you see when most guys get 2 sacks, 3 sacks a game in a game or whatever, certain games, and then get in the beginning, because they're setting their move up. They're trying to set up the O-lineman. And, man, that's the art. That's the art of being a pass rusher. You're trying to set up your guy. And if you see, I've been like, he had me a couple of times, and after that, then okay, all right, then that's when he's like, he thinks not he in his initial mind, like he's saying, okay, I got Kemoko, he's not getting this one, I'm gonna cut him off. That's all he could do. So then I surprised him with a spin move.
Yeah, it's all about setting that up there. And before we end this interview here, I want to ask you just a couple more questions here about additions that the Colts have made. And one of the big ones that they've made is DeForest Buckner, obviously all-pro guy from the 49ers. He's going to eat up so much space in that middle there, and he's going to draw so much attention. How does that kind of help your game on the outside, having a player like DeForest Buckner on the inside?
I mean, it's gonna be very tough. It's gonna be very great, because he's gonna condense the inside, knowing that I could easily turn the corner. It makes my job easier. And being that I had Justin Houston, the amount of impact that I was having in the beginning of the season, having Justin Houston there, it was terrific. So imagine we have 2 impact players that was there, and it's gonna make my game more easier, and it's gonna make me play a lot more better. Because if you watch the Chargers game where when the other game got called for a penalty, mm-hmm. and then if you watch the next rep, I almost had a sack that game, that next rep after, but then the Rivers went inside, like he stepped up. So I know Buckner having his presence, he's gonna condense that's from keeping the quarterbacks from stepping up, and it's gonna keep a lot of quarterbacks from staying in one spot and either like try to move out from outside.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then the other big addition, which I don't think people are talking about enough, is Mike Fair was a great defense line coach for you guys, but they decided to move on to Brian Baker this offseason. Brian Baker is a guy who's been around the league for so long. He's coached, Von Miller, Julius Peppers, Brian Kerrigan, tons of guys. And I know there was a big reason why he was brought over here was because of that ability to develop pass rushers and having you and guys like Banagoo that they want to help you guys develop and get to that next level. So how important do you think, his role is going to be for you guys in your development? And also, have you had any communication with him yet?
Oh yeah, I've talked to him. Me and him spent hours in watching film. He loved what he seen in me last year. He had something to say, certain things that he could improve for me to improve and try to increase my knowledge in football. And he has no doubt that I could continue to get better. I like him as a coach, and from what he's shown so far, is terrific, and things that he's telling me that I've never even acknowledged before. So I know he's gonna help me expand my knowledge of football.
Awesome. Awesome. So one last question here for you before we end this off here. And I appreciate you taking the time and also being super thorough with your answers. I mean, a lot of people are going to love just how thorough your answers are, and also just understand that plan of attack that you have. And I think people are going to love that insight here. But, going to this next year, it's obviously a big year for you. You showed all the progress in 2019. You showed the improvement, but unfortunately it was cut short due to injury. So what can we, kind of expect from you as Colts fans going into this next season?
The expectation is still the same. What you see in 2019 is going to just be a continuation and better, and wiser, and just and it was different. I'm just going to be playing with different players, and I'm not going to be playing with the guys that I was playing with last year. It's going to be with Buckner. Jabal's not here no more, so it's just going to be the same Kemoko, same mentality, with just different players that is coming in this year. And last year my season was cut short, but it was also put on pause. And
Yeah.
the season is going to be just replaying what we left off on.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate you taking the time today and giving all this insight to all the fans here. And, just good luck with everything going forward this next season and everything with your training this off season, man. And we're looking forward to, the true breakout of Kemoko Turay and becoming a star here in the league.
Hey, I appreciate you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. All right.